Hi. Hi, nice to meet you guys. Hi, I'm Chialuka Priskamiri Onoha. I am an AI adoption specialist at Dabu AI and a researcher focused on AI ethics and responsible AI in the global south. I'm excited to be presenting my paper, The Emerging Ethical Landscape, AI Proliferation and Readiness in Africa.
You're not sharing your screen yet, please.
Am I not? Sorry. Let me share. Thought I was sharing. Can you see my screen?
Not
Hello?
yet. No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not yet still.
Yes.
You can see it now.
No, it's not showing you. Okay, but okay, that's Zeno. That's somebody joining. This your screen is not showing you. Let me see. Yeah, you should have a host, so you should be able to share.
Oh, so, okay. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Do you maybe want to leave and join again? It's not showing you.
Let me see what was wrong from my side. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Let me start again. Okay. Hi. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Chialuka Priskamiri Onoha. I am an AI adoption specialist at Davu AI and the researcher focused on AI ethics and responsible AI. Today, I'll be sharing my first lead research paper with you, The Emerging Ethical Landscape, AI Proliferation and Readiness in Africa. This project is very important to me. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge my co-hosts. I'm sorry, my co-authors. Okay, so this is me. Sorry, I forgot to share the screen. All right. I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors, Winnie Kango, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and Uzong Paru, who is the founder and CEO of TechScale Limited. We all share a common goal of contributing to the growth of AI in Africa, and I'm excited to present our findings here at DataFest. So our agenda today, we'll be talking about Africa's AI readiness, AI ethics, trust and adoption in Africa, the road ahead, and building Africa's AI future. Then conclusion. It's very short. My presentation is not going to be very long because I have you in mind. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so before I start, I would like to I want you to have 4 terms in your mind because it can be very difficult to understand AI research from a beginner's point of view. So I want you to put in mind 4 terms: the global north, the global south, and AI readiness. Then the digital divide. When we talk about the digital divide, what exactly is the digital divide? The digital divide is the gap between people who have access to digital technologies and those who do not. It includes access to internet, digital literacy training, and the technical and financial ability to use technology. The digital divide simply separates us. The digital divide simply separates the global north from the global south. That is basically the difference between the global north and the global south. When we talk about the global north, we're talking about developed countries, countries with great technological advancement. We're talking about America, we're talking about Canada, we're talking about countries in the EU, such as Germany, the UK, Asia, Japan, China, those kind of countries. And when we talk about the global south, we're talking about countries that are developing or are underdeveloped or are still struggling with technological advancements. Africa, in Africa, we have Nigeria, we have Kenya, we have Brazil, we have India. These are countries that are struggling with AI with technological advancement. I can even say that India has is forward compared to people below the food chain, something like Nigeria, like Kenya. AI readiness. What exactly is AI readiness? And what makes you think Africa is ready for AI? When we talk about AI readiness, we're referring to more than just having the technology, that's artificial intelligence. It's about infrastructure, skills, policies, and the strategies needed to harness AI in ways that benefit society, that benefits our African society. Like, do we in Africa, do we have the infrastructure? Do we have the skills? Do we have policies set in place? Do we have AI strategies that can help us harness AI in the ways that benefits society, that is safe, that doesn't cause harm, that's not bias? So in Africa, many countries struggle with underdeveloped infrastructures, especially when it comes to internet access, power supply, and education. In Africa alone, we have 54 African countries. Well, 55 if you add one other country, but we have 54 African countries. And on the scale, we see that most of these countries are still struggling with underdeveloped infrastructures, especially when it comes to internet access, power supply, and education. But despite all these, it's very interesting that even with these challenges, there's still growing interest in AI in our continent. And that's just amazing. The question is, should AI integration be delayed due to lack of infrastructure? I mean, when you think of it, like, because Nigeria doesn't have the infrastructure, or we lack the infrastructures, or we don't like, or the infrastructures are not set in place, or the infrastructures are just small. Because of all this, do you think we should delay AI integration in our country? Well, delaying AI integration due to infrastructural gap could only worsen Africa's exclusion from global AI governance discussions. Yes. We find out that when there are international dialogues about AI, you find little to no Africans there. So how can we contribute our perspectives to these seats when space is not made for us? Why is space not made for us? Because probably they believe that we do not know, or we are just not there yet. And that's why it's good that we put ourselves forward, that we try to, we try to integrate AI into our continent, despite the fact that we lack the infrastructure. Okay. You must wonder why I'm, you must wonder why I say I'm passionate about AI ethics and responsible AI. Well, I just want you to imagine being in an airport, in an international airport, not here, probably a foreign country with white-skinned people because we are blacks. Imagine being in an airport there, and then a computer system is supposed to scan your face before you board the flight to know to verify your identity. and then this computer system identifies you as a monkey or an animal, how would you feel? This is why the term bias is very important in AI ethics and AI research in general, because we want to eliminate bias. If a computer system is able to identify a white-skinned human and say this person is a human, then it should also be able to identify a black-skinned person and say this is a human being, not an animal. So what is AI ethics? Well, the standard definition for AI ethics, or at least the definition on Google, says AI ethics are the moral principles that guide the development and use of artificial intelligence to ensure it benefits society. When I started my AI journey, when I started journey as a researcher, I found it hard to remember, understand what AI ethics is. And with time, I just realized ethics is basically in our society. I schooled in Lagos. I went to a government college. So I lived by the tradition of the Yoruba people. And there is something you notice when you go to school or when you're greeting elders in general in the Yoruba tribe. Females have to bend their knees, and then the males have to lie down on the floor. And this is ethics. This is like the ethics, the normal standard the Yoruba tradition has set for themselves. And they believe this is standard, these are the principles that every male and female should follow, amongst other ethical beliefs that they have. And basically, AI ethics is just saying that this is the moral principle that guides the development and use of artificial intelligence to ensure that it benefits society. As we integrate AI into African society, we cannot ignore the ethical considerations. One significant concern is ethics dumping. Ethics dumping is the practice of exporting unethical AI research or practice to lower income regions like Africa. For instance, there are certain AI practices that have been restricted by foreign governments in their regions. Take, for instance, maybe the UK or America has restricted certain companies or maybe certain startups or certain small companies from engaging in certain AI activities, and they probably have reserved it for the government, the military, or maybe big tech, or maybe certain big tech. Imagine now, because they realize that these practices are not safe, and they are not safe for just small or any company to come and start building on. And so they restrict it in their region. And so stakeholders in these regions come down to Africa and practice this unsafe, restricted research and thrive. Why? Because there are no laws to restrict the prohibition or to restrict this technology, to restrict this practice, or to prohibit this practice to protect our society from unethical practices. In some cases also, AI tools developed in the global north may not fully consider our African cultural context. For example, language. Do you think AI systems can translate Igbo correctly? I was on LinkedIn one time and an Igbo guy wrote something, and I used the translation, and the translation was incorrect. And all this just leads to biases, because it encourages inequality. How can AI systems translate a certain language to another language when the individuals that are the owners of that specific language are not involved in building the system? Another challenge is the lack of national AI strategies in many African countries. It's the plus that Nigeria has developed its national AI strategy. It developed this some months ago. It just makes me wonder, there have been laws that have been passed, but are they really taking in grassroots consideration? There's a difference between, there's this void in the center when you develop national policies and you implement them, but you do not let the grassroots, the people involved, the people that are supposed to abide by this stuff, you don't let them understand what you have created. And that gap is really wide. It makes it difficult to regulate AI and protect human rights. This is why ethical frameworks tailored to Africa's unique socioeconomic reality is important. Okay, on the bright side, AI adoption has the power to significantly boost socioeconomic development across Africa, from improving healthcare delivery to addressing agricultural inefficiencies and even leapfrogging other technologies. AI can accelerate progress in ways that were previously unimaginable. However, to understand, it's essential to understand that Africa's AI journey will not mirror that of the global south. Our needs are different from what America needs. America probably needs robot cars. They need many other things that are really different from us. We don't have the good roads to implement AI cars like robotics. We don't have good roads for that. Our our citizens are less educated on AI. We don't have the infrastructure. We are struggling with light. We're struggling with education. We are struggling with internet. We're struggling with political instability. There's just so many problems, and we cannot be building AI solutions and be mirroring that of developed countries with advanced technological infrastructures. We can't. Our AI initiative needs to prioritize solutions that address core challenges within our society, such as political instability, like I mentioned, lack of clean water, and educational gaps. And most importantly, we need to trust. We need to build trust, both in AI technologies and the institutions that develop them. To build trust in these systems, we need to have ourselves, we need to be included into these systems. The road ahead. Well, so where do we go from here? First, we need AI governance frameworks that reflect Africa's unique needs. I keep on saying this because it's very important. We need AI systems that are solving our problems and not solving problems that are for other continents. The African Union Continental Strategy on AI is a step in the right direction. It focuses on AI building, AI skill building, governance, and international cooperation. But more needs to be done. Africa must not only be consumers of AI technologies, but also key players in shaping the ethical and cultural dimensions. This will require strong collaborations across sectors and borders, both within the continent and with global stakeholders. In conclusion, Africa is ready to embrace AI, but we must do so on our terms. We must ensure that ethical considerations are at the forefront of this journey. AI's benefits are clear, quite all right, but so are the challenges we face. It's up to us as researchers, as engineers, and as policymakers to bridge the gap and make sure that AI serves Africans equitably and responsibly. Thank you for your time today. I'm happy to take questions. So if you have any question, you can drop it at the comments. Hello, is anybody here? Thank you. Not see the comments.
Oh, sorry. Need to lock me off. So we have some questions in the chats. Emmanuel is asking that when you mentioned bias in AI, aren't AI model based on data used to train them?
Yes, AI models are based on the data used to train them. And if you notice something, these models that are being trained, most of them are being made abroad by the global north, by like foreign companies in terms of like we mentioned like America, like the Europe, those kind of stuff. And then the data that they're training, how can you reflect us? Like, how can you reflect our viewpoint, like our skin color, this kind of stuff? That's why there's a research that happened by this researcher, Dr. Boluwami or so. And then she found out that AI systems, if an AI system, like if there are two individuals here and one is black and one is white, the AI system will identify one, the white one, as a human, and will identify the other as an animal. And that's basically what they are trained on. In terms of language, um imagine a foreigner coming to Nigeria to learn Igbo and then is training, what is it called, AI models. It cannot reflect what our views, or probably it can't reflect totally our language. And that's why we must be in those seats to develop these systems, because only we know we know how, like, how best our information should be passed.
Yeah. I think I also want to add one or two to that. If you check online, you will see a lot of failed AI projects. And a major reason why these AI projects actually failed was based on the data that they were being fed. There was this one, I think it's from, I can't remember the company now. It's supposed to tweet about something, and it would be just inserted no nonsense to it, and the model started tweeting a lot of racism stuff and all of that, right? So just as Priska is trying to drive, we all need to also contribute to the growth of these AI systems, especially in terms of the data part, right? That leads me to the next question that Zainab is asking. She says, how does AI and data work hand in hand?
Well, AI systems are being trained by data sets. So what we call a data set is probably an Excel sheet that has tables, rows and column. We have your name, we have your age, we have the school you went to, blah, blah, blah. And from that data set, we can determine, this person is likely to get into Harvard, and this person is likely to not to get into Harvard. Why? Because we've seen the system has been trained on data, like lots of data. And maybe, like, I'm not trying to discriminate, but like a system can probably say, oh, a black person is more likely to get into Harvard than a white person. The opposite is the case, but I'm like, a black person is more likely to get into Harvard than a black person. Why? Because they've probably seen your data, those kind of stuff. In terms of even women, you notice some AI systems, like they tend to um, they tend to um point, I'm trying to use the right word, mark
Uh,
or point or like signal, like probably like roles like kitchen, those kind of stuff, like the kitchen, taking care of children, they tend to point it to females. And when it comes to like those kind of works, like, oh, working in this place, working like the industry, working, and you tend to point it to the male gender. This is also biased because it's what they've been trained on. So this is like, it's the data you give these systems that they vomit back at you. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
yeah, thank you. Iman, it's data collection on Africa is a very funny, it's a funny business, but I mean there are organizations out there that are doing it. The likes of the aggregates, what they do is collect data, but I think they focus on the e-commerce industry, right? It's a good business if you have the skin to like take it up and do all of that. So if there is no other question, I think it's safe to say that we can wrap up this session. Thank you so much, Priska. One thing I've always been vying for is that Africa at large, we are not really ready to compete at the global scale in terms of all this technology. So it seems like we are
But we
just
are going to try from one place. We are going to
yeah,
try. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But I think that we can see that Nigeria is even trying far better than every other African country, which would
That's not true.
definitely. So, you said that's not true.
That's not true. There's
Uh,
Mauritius, there's South Africa. There are countries that are making waves. There's Mauritius, there's South Africa, like countries that are
Yeah,
making
but in terms
lots
of
of
making
waves.
wave, like people are really not hearing that much. I think it's just Nigeria thing to always make noise about things that we are doing, right?
Uh,
We are always the loudest in the room. So,
yeah, maybe, probably, but maybe it's because I'm in like the AI space and I do research on these countries. So like I
oh
can
yeah,
see
yeah,
their
yeah.
data like it's glaring on my face. And
Oh
so
yeah.
like that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. So yeah, thank you so much. And sorry about the whole mix-up. Thank you everyone for joining us and enjoying this session with me. If there is no further question, I will stop the recording and bye for now.
Yeah.